Hi, my name is Madeline Van Dyke, and for my COM 463 project, I am going to be focusing on the India and Pakistan conflict. Starting off with a brief introduction about the conflict and the area, the India Pakistan conflict is a territorial and ideological dispute primarily centered around the Kashmir region and religious identity. India is a secular state, meaning they do not have a dominant religion, and religion is not a part of their government. However, a lot of their population is Hindu, while a lot of Pakistan's population is Muslim, and the Islamic State is a part of the government in Pakistan. Over to the right here, you can see a map. To the west, we have Pakistan, and over in the orange, we have India. And up north in the gray is the Kashmir region that they are fighting over. Okay, so just a little history about how this all began. The main part of this was the partition. The partition began as a result of British colonial withdrawal and the demand for a separate Muslim homeland. The British Mountbatten Plan in 1947 formalized the decision to divide British India into two sovereign nations, India and Pakistan. While this may seem like a good thing, it triggered mass displacement over 14 million people and caused widespread violence. Estimated 1 to 2 million people died, and countless were wounded, abducted, and traumatized. This deepened religious divisions even farther and shaped how India and Pakistan perceived each other. Kashmir became a contested region shortly after the partition as Muslim majority clashed with its Hindu rulers' decision to join India. And here are some pictures of what that war looked like. So lots of devastation there. Other key events, there were more wars happening in 1965, 1961, 1971, which led to the creation of Bangladesh, and 1999. This is also an ongoing issue. As recent as April 25, a terrorist attack happened in Kashmir, killing 26 people, mostly Hindu tourists, making tensions even more heightened. And this was by AP News. Okay, so to focus a little bit on the things they do agree on, since they both shared the historical experiences and the trauma of the partition, they definitely have a connection there and recognize the need for peace and stability in the region. Both nations also agree on the importance of Kashmir, but that also leads to some conflict. Okay, so now their main disagreements. From India's perspective, Kashmir's accession to India in 1947 was legal and legitimate, and Pakistan's support for insurgency in Kashmir is viewed as terrorism to the Indians. From the Pakistanis' perspective, Kashmir is a disputed territory with Muslim majority population wanting union with Pakistan. India's actions in Kashmir are seen as oppressive and in violation of international agreements. Over to the right, I put a picture of the Kashmir region up. So while there's many reasons that both the nations want the Kashmir, you can also see it's very beautiful, which I feel like might add a little bit to it. Okay, so now to look at cultural values and identities from Al Hassan. India has an emphasis on secularism and pluralism, like I mentioned before, meaning they church and state is separated for them. And they have many different religions in the country, as you can see to the right on this picture. National identity is intertwined with democratic values there. In Pakistan, identity is rooted in Islamic ideology and the concept of a Muslim homeland. Historical narratives shaped by the trauma of the partition and the desire to protect their Muslim identity. And as you can see to the right, how dominantly Muslim the religion is in Pakistan. It is 96% Muslim, so it's very dominant. Okay, To go over some concepts that connect to the course, multiple histories were shown in this conflict because each side tells a different version and views things very differently about the events. Cultural values were also included here, such as secularism versus how religious nationalism impacts each country's views on legitimacy and justice. Okay, getting into the dialectical perspective on the conflict, first we're going to start with the differences and similarities dialectic. So, despite their shared history, culture, and language, India and Pakistan highlight their differences over their similarities to assert national identity. Moving on to the cultural individual dialectic, not all individuals in Pakistan conform to the dominant national stance, meaning that while many are on one side of this conflict and not everybody is. Leading into the next point, the personal contextual dialectic. Individual relationships between Indians and Pakistanis can be warm and respectful despite tense political contexts. So, like I mentioned in the last point, while there is a lot of conflict, not everybody is participating in the conflict, and there is potential for Indians and Pakistanis to be friends, and it does happen sometimes. Okay, my recommendations for resolution would be inclusive dialogue, so encouraging open communication between India, Pakistani, and the Kashmiri representatives. Also, a cultural exchange between the nations to promote initiatives that highlight shared cultural heritage to foster mutual understanding because there is a lot of cultural similarity there. And then international mediation to engage neutral international people to facilitate peace talks and monitor agreements. In conclusion, the India Pakistan conflict is a deeply rooted issue in historical, cultural, and territorial disputes. A resolution requires acknowledging diverse perspectives, embracing dialectal tensions, and fostering inclusive dialogue. Thank you so much.